So we are bringing the time machine forward another, what is it, 6 years, 7 years? We were in 94. So now we're moving to 2000, 2001. So yeah, like 6 or 7-ish years. 7-ish. This is your favorite, one of your favorite seasons to break down every single time we do this. So
yeah,
we're going to start. Let's look at all NBA. And we're just for the sake of saying it, as I've said already, we're doing the 90-91 Chicago Bulls, the first champion, Michael Jordan's first championship run.
Yes. What he and we believe to be his apex greatest year.
So, as always, Jordan with his 31.5.
Was that proper English? I feel like Lindsay would know.
I think you were good. I didn't bat an eye at it.
I'm pretty sure that was okay, yeah.
Oh, word? That's awesome. I usually suck at that.
At 31.5, Jordan is going to be either right next to the scoring champion or the scoring champion.
He's probably going to be the scoring champion.
31.1. He nudges out Allen Iverson, who basically won the MVP off his scoring prowess. Well, he was the scoring champion this year and the steals champion, Allen Iverson. So
he would have nudged him out on both.
Shooting 42%. And
yeah,
Jordan has at 2.7 would lead the league in steals and points. And I think would be one. Kobe's not averaging a block a game yet in his career, is he?
He's close, I think. Can't remember.
I definitely think he's close. But 0.6. Vince Carter at 1.1 blocks would be the only other guard. I guess T-Mac, but I consider T-Mac like a small forward. But one of the few guards over a block a game, right?
Yeah, this is a much different league than Jordan has seen, or at least than we've brought Jordan in the past. Only because he has a lot of shooting guard competition versus in this league versus other leagues.
What he played in.
We've played him, yeah.
And
playing.
This is what we were talking about when we were looking at the Wizards, right? We were like, this was a big motivating factor for Jordan to make that comeback in the first place. Is the talent pool is now flooded. There we go. The talent pool is now flooded with fucking shooting guards, and so now it's a bunch of people for Jordan to compete with.
Yes.
Where the hell is the all NBA?
And all right, so this is like a question that I had that I've been thinking about today. Do you think that changes things for him though? Because I really do think that, like, I know we've praised him for being a great scoring guard and defensive guard.
Right.
But do you think that makes it much harder for him if he has to face top shooting guard competition every single night versus before he would be able to pretty much lay off a lot? Like he wasn't guarding the best of the best every night. You ask Scotty for that.
I think that would have affected like 97, 98 Jordan more than it affects 90, 91 Jordan. I think it's like blood to his. I think it's like shooting heroin into his veins.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
The competition.
I just feel like he might be a little less efficient.
Maybe
having to do that because I feel like a lot of these guards. The reason, I mean, not to mention they play a lot of hero ball, but the reason a lot of these guys aren't as efficient is also because they're having to guard each other. Like having to deal with a person who's about to give you 30 a night. You have for obviously AI, T-Mac, and Kobe.
Yeah,
who could be putting up 30 every single night.
Vince was playing.
Vince Carter. Yeah.
Ray Allen playing pretty well. All these guys on the first and second team in the guard spots, like they're bona fide Hall of Famers for sure.
Yeah, and then so having to deal with that, and then also having to put up 30 yourself, like I feel like the efficiency. That's where your efficiency, your jump shot, you lose your legs a little bit throughout the game.
Yeah,
and, like I feel like that's where it matters. And
well, he was.
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said I don't know if that also skews things for him because he didn't have to do that as often.
But whenever the challenge was put in front of him, it wasn't like LeBron, where LeBron like when LeBron guards Kevin Durant, for example, like he's not guarding Kevin Durant the whole time. Like Jordan and Kobe, for example, guys who were like always looking to take that tough defensive challenge whenever he could take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was even coming, and Jordan, and I'm sure I'll have the highlights on your screen, but Jordan was fucking blocking centers at this point in his career frequently. Like, like his athleticism is at his all-time peak, stamina, stuff like that. And I think it's so hard to say about his efficiency because all these guards that play like that and that are competing against each other based it off of him.
Yep.
Which is just interesting. Like, I feel like, because even a lot of these guys did get a chance to play Mike at the end of his career. You know what I mean? Like, that last dance season, Iverson was there. Kobe was there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Vince wasn't there quite yet.
Yeah, I think Vince. I don't know. He might have come.
Duncan played against him. I'm just looking at people on this list. Garnett played against him. There's
Ray
a lot
Allen
of guys on
there.
this list who are from that late 90s era that got to see Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And he did well against a good portion of these guys, but I think maybe, where's he at? He's at 31.5 points a game, shooting 54%.
That year is by far his most efficient year.
Yeah,
too.
this
is his peak. This is peak.
Yeah, so his effect.
I think 93 is his peak, but this is definitely like that. That's where the apex starts, and it's like where he's kind of staying at the top kind of thing.
He's at 547 effective field goal percentage. He's in the top 5 in this season for effective field goal percentage, which puts him with Shaq, center, Ray Allen, on his way to being the greatest shooter of the era. Stockton, who's known for his lack of shooting but efficiency. Like Steve Nash is here, Rashard Lewis. It puts him with these guys that, outside of Shaq, aren't known for their volume, which is interesting. Because they're putting up, outside of Shaq, with almost 20.
Yeah.
16 is the highest. And then you have Jordan, I think he's 22.5 shots a game?
Yep.
Yeah, 22.5. So it's just, like you said, the efficiency is absurd. I still think he would definitely be over 50%. It sounds stupid to say, but there's years of proof that make me feel like 27-year-old Michael Jordan is still able to be great. Because like Iverson's going to have a really hard time guarding Jordan.
Yeah, I don't think he. Especially this one. Like if we were talking about 96 Jordan, I'd have a huge argument against that.
Sure.
But this Jordan, I for sure could see him. I don't think he's going to be as efficient though. I don't think he's going to be shooting 54% from the field. I see him right at 50, maybe 49. Like I could see that being an issue. Like being but he also the luxury he has is he also has Scotty. So if he's facing Kobe, T-Mac, any of these guys, he gets a little break because Scotty could guard him. And
not only that, but this era plays to the one thing that they need more than anything, which is a slow pace. And the pace is just at almost a halt at this point. Like they're almost getting ready to change the rules.
It's 91.3.
It's not. Thank you. Glad I told you to write that down. Okay, 91.3 for the pace for the league at an average, and they're at about 95. So I want to see where that puts them in comparison.
I think this is the fastest paced Bulls team
of the champions. Teams. It definitely is. Yeah. But I want to see where that puts them at 95. They're leading the NBA in pace at 95 here. That is insane. Yeah. That is insane considering they were bottom third of the league in their era. That is crazy. In my opinion. That's fucking crazy. With that being said, I think Jordan comes in. Like I said, I think you're right to say around 50%. I definitely think he still gets a scoring title with that information. I don't think his scoring is going to drop off.
Yeah. There's no way in how Allen Iverson got the scoring title and Michael Jordan wouldn't. No.
That's what I'm saying. And Allen
Iverson is great and all, but he's definitely like they were given the same task.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, score to help your team get to victory.
You are the first, second, and third option for scoring.
Yes, exactly.
But it's crazy when you see, like, this is why a lot of people feel like Allen Iverson's pound for pound the best player of all time. Some people, they're like, when we're just talking about the most, who did the most with the least, fucking, because he's so small.
Yeah.
People.
That is true. That is actually true. Like, who did the most? I mean, it's obviously between, if you go with that, like, it's obviously between him and Bron. But.
Him and who?
Him and LeBron.
Oh, I was going to say, I was thinking of like small guys. So when you said LeBron, I was like, he's not small.
No, I was just saying in terms of like guys who've done the most with the little, the least around them. I think so definitely between those two.
Yeah, I agree. I think Isaiah Thomas is underrated in that conversation, but the reason I'm thinking about him right now is because I'm thinking about Iverson and Thomas. I think those are the two best little guys.
Small, oh, for sure.
Definitely the modern of, after 1980. They're definitely the best of all time. Where's the MVP?
And next, it's just gonna keep on with the conversation that doesn't need to be kept on. I was gonna mention Steph too if we're talking about small guys, but then
he's like 6'3" though. He's pretty big. He's big in comparison to Iverson. Iverson's barely 6 foot. Same thing with Isaiah.
Yeah,
that's all. Like when you see Curry on late night shows, like when he goes and walks up to the guy, like he looks like a normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't look at him and go, "Man, he's small." It's like Steve Nash. You think he's small, but he's actually 6'4". Like it's crazy.
Is he really?
Yeah,
he's on this crazy. List.
No, I thought maybe he'd be on here, but
no, this is not Steve Nash's time.
It's not his time yet. They're in. They do make the playoffs. Him and Dirk, and they play Utah in this playoffs. And it's just, I was watching the highlights of that, and it's cool to watch the two generations go against each other. But I'm taking Jordan to win MVP here. I imagine they're going to still hit that 60 win mark, especially in the East.
What's I was going to say, what's the standings? We always every time we bring anybody to this year, you always say the person should have won MVP because you don't believe in Iverson's MVP.
Yeah, I know. This is an absolutely true point. I can't do that in any way, shape, or form. So far, Allen Iverson's 0 for 5.
Yeah, every person that we brought to this, he says.
I thought Larry should have won. Magic, Kareem.
I think you even said Kobe, and I was surprised at that
Kobe
too. Yeah,
that shit.
And I always disagree because, but the issue in this. The part that Jordan gets a little bit more of a nod because they don't at that first championship year they don't look at Scottie the same as what we know him as. So Scottie's barely looked at
for that reason. That's a good point.
Yeah, so Scottie's barely looked at as the second guy. So then you have Jordan and Iverson in a very similar situation where you have a defensive team around them. It wasn't really like a high scoring, like you didn't really have that second guy. So I could totally see Jordan winning MVP also because they love Michael. Like Jordan would still be beloved in 2001. So,
he was beloved the next year when he comes back.
Yeah. So I definitely think he would most likely win MVP, and Iverson doesn't have much of an argument with that, like because Jordan being in the East, having 60, they're most likely going to get the 60 wins. Might even get more than that.
That's what
probably get 65 if you.
We've seen what Michael Jordan and a Bulls team can do with a diluted conference. We saw it, or a diluted NBA, and there's a lot of these teams that are just really destitute when it comes to skill.
Yeah, and this is still like the ripple effect from Jordan and the Bulls leaving. I know it's like 3 or 4 years, huh?
Is that as you can see with the Bulls being absolutely dead fucking last?
Yeah, like I know it's like 3 years later, but it definitely like the Bulls were what was keeping the East from like keeping the East looking really strong, pretty much. You had the Pacers with injuries this year, so that's why they couldn't go back to back to make the finals. So you really had a weak East, and I think just like we said with the during Jordan's legacy breakdown in that 96, 97, 98 season, we said if one of his first 3 championship teams were in that era of basketball, they would have done the same thing. So I look at it the same way. I think they would have won for sure high 60s, which makes Jordan clear MVP if you still leave in Iverson with 56 wins. How much was it?
56.
Yeah, 56 wins, and you get in 65, maybe 67, 68. Like, definitely could have done that. So it makes it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you 100%. And I think do you think he takes? I think he's taking Jason Kidd's guard spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, because Kidd on that first team, I don't even see Kidd. Here he is. Kidd, 17, 6, and basically 10, 2 steals, shooting 41%. The inefficiency is what puts Jordan over the top here. All these guards are sub 50%. And Jordan was just not about that life in this point of his career, at all. He's just very efficient and very athletic, and I definitely think.
Yeah, and like we said to begin with, I like to give some, because I really do think the reason these guards are not as efficient is partially because of each other.
Sure.
Like I feel like that really does play a part in that, and I think Jordan not having competition in that guard position throughout that whole decade really helps him a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of building his greatness, because it's just like you literally completely dominated that position for a decade. So that's wwhy everybody when you start bringing them, once we start doing these hypotheticals and start bringing them against these guards, kind of looks like they don't stand a chance. But I feel like it's much closer than people. Some of the guards is much closer than.
I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but who do you think is hardest for MJ to guard at his peak of the guards here?
There's 2.
Okay.
And just for the people, because I was waiting for Russell to ask me the question. He never asked me, so I got you.
I told you. This is always what happens. Whenever you fucking set me up for something, I just eventually never ask you.
Just for people to wonder, why the hell is Dario wearing this stupid ass costume? It's not a costume. It's like my whenever I go to Hawaii or something, I'm wearing something like this because I want to But the reason is because soon in this legacy breakdown we'll be going to LA, so I wanted to dress for the occasion.
I like it. The background very much shows that we're heading to LA.
So the 2 guards that I personally have that's going to be tough for Jordan is going to be obviously the Beam.
Yeah.
So I don't even think that should be a question. Everybody knew I was going to say that before he even asked the question.
Yes.
And the second one, who I think is really going to be a struggle for him, is Tracy McGrady. I think Tracy McGrady, because his length, he's never faced a guard like that. And we already seen when he had to face a guard who you would argue scoring wise is less skilled, who's Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
He had trouble with him. So imagine having to face a guard who can shoot just as well as him.
Yeah.
Shoot over the top, everything. I feel
athletic, smooth.
Yeah. And Kobe had trouble with T-Mac too. He said it. So I could totally see Jordan having the same issues.
He 100% had something with length where length bugged him, which is what made Scotty great for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think T-Mac's getting the Scotty draw 100%.
100%. Yeah. And but unlike Kobe, Kobe will probably get the Scotty draw just to MJ a breather a little bit more. T-Mac will be getting the Scotty draw because I think he'll be cooking MJ at some point. I truly do think that. I look at Tracy McGrady, especially at this time of his career, very similar to a Kevin Durant. They had very similar games in terms of their mid range and everything. Obviously, he didn't shoot. I mean, he shot well, but he didn't shoot as efficient as Kevin Durant. But.
Yeah. I wonder what he would do against a guy like Ray Allen. I don't know that. I'm not saying like Jordan would dominate him offensively, but I wonder what it would be like for Jordan because in his era there wasn't a lot of guys running around screens, and the guys that did, like Reggie Miller, got over and did have an advantage on Jordan with extending the floor and making the guy run through screens constantly, shit like that.
Out of curiosity, can we? I know this is doing extra, but what did Reggie do in that '98 series against them?
Good question. I can get that. I want to say like a surprisingly low stat line for Reggie standards.
Yeah, I thought he shot 40% or something like that.
43% from three, but 41% in general for the series, right?
Yeah, I feel like Ray will probably do very similar to that.
Maybe, but Ray could put on the floor, especially young Ray. He could still get up and like move around a little bit, but his jump shot was like crazy. I don't know. Yeah. I just wonder.
He had a little more bounce to him for sure than Reggie did. I feel like they both could put it on the floor, but I agree. Ray Allen, like he could actually dunk. And Reggie, I don't know how much he could dunk.
He was doing a little bit of shot creation early in his career. By the time he got to the Celtics, it was all, bless you, it was all fucking running off screens. Like Doc Rivers was setting him up, all types of shit like that.
That was perfect for that team. Like he needed that. Yeah, like they needed that, and it like worked perfectly. And he just took on his role perfectly there.
Yeah. So we got Jordan at MVP. We got Jordan making the All NBA first team.
Who defensive player of the year is Mutombo, right?
Great point. I always forget about.
Yes, it is.
This is our first player that we really look at DPOY consistently. Yeah. So there's one.
Oh no. MJ's getting defensive player of the year this year.
You think?
Yeah. So 2.5, averaging the same amount of. MJ's averaging the same amount of steals as T is blocks, but MJ's also averaging a block a game, where Mutombo isn't even averaging a steal.
And but he's also leading the league in rebounds too.
Ain't nobody care about that.
But that's not true. In this era, once we get to this point, especially with all the great power forwards and centers that are in the league right now, it's about three statistics: rebounds, steals, and blocks. I think Jordan probably is in the top three. For sure.
All right. I guess the rebound. Because, I mean, the other guy...
Question the best defensive guard in this year.
Doug Christie was averaging very similar steals and blocks to MJ, and he came in fourth. So
it's just a big man's world when it comes to defensive player of the year. But maybe Jordan would change that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing is if he's averaging almost 3 steals and a block in this era where there's shooting guards galore, I think
a little bit faster pace.
Yeah.
A lot faster pace too, which helps with the stats.
Oh, his in 91.
Yeah. Especially the defense.
But we've seen him do that. We've seen him do that in other in other years where the pace was lower. Yeah. So like I feel like he could definitely keep up with that.
I'm not totally saying you're wrong. I just feel like it's always interesting. More possessions means more opportunities to get.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I think he would probably be in the top 3. He would be the best defensive guard in this era. Because he would definitely win the steals championship. Is Iverson even on the defensive player of the year list? No. At the very bottom here. So he could hypothetically, with the blocks, I think he'll crack the top 3. I think Duncan, Garnett, or Mutombo will move out of this. I'm not sure, but he's definitely getting some first place or regular votes. I see the first and I see the points won. I'm like, why bother having both categories here? Very confusing.
Yeah.
I think, but he might. I mean, I don't know.
I agree. I feel like top 3 is fair.
But let's run playoffs now. So we're doing Eastern playoffs.
Yes. This is going to be like pretty much domination.
We need a fun.
It's going to look like what the West was that year is going to look like what the East is going to be. Like it will be the same thing. whatever the Lakers did, they swept through. That's what the Bulls are gonna do.
Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see? We got the Magic. We got T-Mac on the Magic. We got Pacers. Reggie's back for the playoffs. Pretty sure he's back for the playoffs.
Do the Magic.
The Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if he's back.
Because you get him against T-Mac. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So Orlando Magic versus Chicago Bulls. Yeah. Their pace. Fast for the NBA, but slower than the Bulls. So they're going to play closer to up and down style.
Yeah.
Right? You got Doc Rivers.
What was their pace for the playoffs?
I'll tell you in a sec. 92 is the pace for them in the playoffs. Okay.
So pretty similar to what they
definitely
did in the
similar.
Regular season.
Do I have to get?
90? Yeah, check the Bulls playoff.
They got to get their playoff number. So they have what looks like the lowest pace in the playoffs at 88.1.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's really
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense though, because one thing is in the regular season they did well, but they didn't have that. They didn't look like that dominant team throughout the whole regular season. It was in the playoffs is when they clicked.
When they really kicked it up. Like they obviously they were first in the East in 91 with the 61 wins, but I understand what you're saying. Scotty went up a level in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes a difference.
And when you slowing down the pace and you got your second guy giving you more points and more doing everything else more, like that matters a lot.
Who you got in how many games?
I got Bulls in 3, right? That's what, or is it 4? No, it's 3. Yeah, Bulls in 3.
Bulls in 3?
I think T-Mac gives Jordan 40 one of those games, though.
If it was 7, would you still take him in a sweep?
Yes.
Okay.
My reasoning is I really do think that Orlando team only really has T-Mac to work with.
Right.
And I think even with T-Mac's probably going to give him 40 that first game. That's when he's going to give Jordan 40, but they still win. And then Jordan's going to be like, "Yeah, Scotty, you got to do this shit because I'm not trying to deal with this for the whole series."
Yeah, I think they'll take turns on him. I think Tracy McGrady probably puts up 27 points a game. On in the actual playoffs, he shot 41%. I think it's going to be pretty close to that, maybe less, because this is the era of chucking.
So you have him averaging. You see, I don't know, man. I think because of
both of them,
I agree, but I think he's still going to give you with him chucking. I think he's still going to give you 30, but they're just going to lose.
Maybe, I don't know. Even in this series in 4 games in the real playoffs, he only took 10 threes. So if he was taking and making more threes, maybe I'd feel differently. But Tracy McGrady was the master of the fucking mid-range in this era.
Yeah.
He had the most I think he has the most underrated mid-range game in basketball's history, in my opinion.
And the crazy part is he would jump so high, and it's not a lot of guys could block that shot. It's very similar to the KD thing. That's why I compared it to.
There's a great video on YouTube of this guy. It's attention to detail. Shout out to him, where he literally broke down through Tracy McGrady's jump shot how over time that led to his injuries. It's really interesting. And how it all compacts on his back and his lower body. He did the same thing for Derrick Rose and his leg injuries. It's really interesting. Shout out to him. But
that's why fundamentals matter.
I'm taking Magic to get swept. 100%.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'm like, you're taking the Magic.
I knew how I said it, and I was like, I'm going with it.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely taking the Magic to get swept. I don't know if Tracy McGrady maybe he gets a 40 in the first game, a surprise attack. Yeah, but I don't see it. I don't see it
because you got to think about it. He's going against the GOAT. He's going to be like, "Oh no, I gotta wall out on him."
And he really doesn't have a second star at all. There's a lot of teams here that I think are going to succumb to that because Michael and Scotty are one of 2 or 3 teams with a real dynamic duo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like outside of Kobe and Shaq and like old Stockton Malone and
Spurs.
Like, it's Spurs with Robinson, and then there's Nash and Nowitzki, but they're not really there yet.
Yeah.
Like it's a short list for true dynamic duos, which is why the Lakers smashed this entire era. Let's see when we go into the second round. Let's do, what are the Eastern Conference teams? We got Bucks, Hornets, Sixers, Raptors. You want to say, let's do the Raptors. We'll save the Sixers for the conference.
Yeah, the Sixers has to be the conference final. So you got
this was a fucking classic in real life. Sixers Raptors was a fucking classic, an epic series.
So this is fun. MJ is gonna have to go through elite shooting guards every single round.
Yes.
This is it's pretty awesome.
So Vince basically 27, 6.5, and 5 with a steal, basically 2 steals and 2 blocks a game in the playoffs. 12 playoff games.
Yeah.
Crazy.
How many dunk-ons does Vince Carter get on?
Yeah, what the fuck? I wish they had a dunks per game.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, like, do you think he dunks on one of them?
I think he dunks games? All over Horace Grant and Bill Cartwright. And just,
you don't think he'll dunk on Scottie or Jordan or MJ?
I just
don't be his primary defenders. He has to dunk on them at least once.
MJ makes business decisions with dunks. Like even with the Starks dunk, the famous dunk where Starks dunks on Pippen and Jordan, you can see, and this will be on your screen, you can see Jordan like back out, like, oh, business decision. I don't want to be on this poster. Like, he makes a lot of those moves in his career. If he can get the block, he tries to go for it. But LeBron is very similar, where LeBron, outside of the Tatum dunk, I can't think of too many times where he's gotten absolutely crap dunk.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But Cartwright and Horace Grant?
Yeah, for sure.
Hard, heavy dunks on them.
Yeah.
And they got a Davis brother, Antonio Davis, 16-11. Charles Oakley, who is not afraid of nothing and treated Scottie like his little bitch.
Oh, yeah.
His rookie, and also was MJ's bodyguard for a long time.
Yeah, he might be knocking him down a few times. You know what? I might actually give for this series. I might have Bulls in 5.
Okay,
maybe because if they could get physical with them, I could totally see the Bulls losing a game, maybe even 2. Like depending on how much they get into their head. This is coming off. This is still a Bulls team that. They're obviously mentally stronger because they go and sweep the Pistons this year, like in the year the actual year that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But they still, like, maybe if you put them against some more physicality, a little bit different, more talent, like maybe it puts them in a tougher situation where they lose a game or 2. So I could totally see Toronto possibly taking a game or 2.
Here's why I'll say 5 games are sweet. The Raptors are trying to play at a slow pace. That is the kiss of death against Michael Jordan, in my opinion. If you allow Michael Jordan to come up the court, half court, and just run his shit and just get to the cup, do ISO ball, I don't think that's good for the opposing team at all. And maybe even if they get physical with them, I just don't. I don't know. I think between Jordan and Pippen and the people on the outside making their jump shots, I think they match up well against this Raptors team for that reason. Just because of how the Raptors are trying to play. I think that benefits.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I mean, I definitely I feel more confident about the 5.
Yeah.
I feel less confident about the sweep just because of the extra physicality that could come into this game. And I do think Vince Carter is still worthy guard that Jordan and Pippen would have to really try to
rank the big 4 guards for me from this era. Rank them.
In 01?
Yeah.
This is gonna get a lot of shit because I know I know people are gonna be cocky and everything because of the guy who actually won MVP this year. But to me,
yeah,
it's Kobe.
Yeah.
AI.
This is why I asked. This is the reason I asked.
The two. I want to say T-Mac because I really do feel like if I had to pick one who I wanted,
yeah,
I feel like I would go with T-Mac more because of his. I feel like he had more skill than Vince Carter. Okay. But Vince Carter was just such a highlight reel. It's like
and a freak athlete.
It's really like 3A 3B to me. But I'm not mad at anybody picking Vince over T-Mac. I would take T-Mac, but but most people would say AI is 1 and Kobe's 2,
especially for this year.
Yeah, but to me, it's like when you have Shaq on your team, everybody AI could have been on that team and he would have looked the same way Kobe did because Shaq was
I don't know how that would work because those two.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying more so like no one's gonna look. I don't even think MJ would look dominant with Shaq.
Yeah,
there's no way you have a dominant force on your team. You had to feed him the ball, especially with the rules the way they were and how Shaq was just an automatic 2-point bucket. Like
that's why I said what I said. That's why I genuinely thought, even though it came out not being this way in any way, shape, or form, I genuinely thought Michael Jordan took Kwame Brown, thinking I can feed this guy, I can turn him into Shaq. I really believe that. As crazy as that sounds, I believe that was his thought process for picking him. Because he looked at that situation and was like, I could fucking do that.
Yeah.
But especially in his older age. So I agree with
LA.
I agree with what you're saying. But I'm taking the Raptors to lose. I keep saying that.
So who would you have as the third? Do you agree with the rankings?
I think I would have Tracy McGrady last.
You would? Okay. Yeah,
right
and I'm not mad at that. I feel like most people would do that.
But I don't. I think it might also be because of the teams, though, too, because this Raptors team, as we just saw, is a little bit more loaded than the Magic or just him. And it's weird for that reason. And also, like
do you feel like if T-Mac and Vince Carter were reversed, switched different position, a different if Tracy McGrady, flip-flop teams, do you think? I feel like the Raptors would still be the same.
So basically, if the Raptors traded T-Mac or traded Vince instead of T-Mac.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like it could have been the same, but
I think
maybe
that's the thing is you don't know. I don't know if they were better or not. I really don't. I feel like they're pretty close in skill. That's a good point. And also, like their careers are one's longer than the other, but it's similar. Like they have this really intense peak, and then they, fade away.
They drop off around the same time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm taking the Raptors to lose in 5. Lindsay, what do you think?
Besides his horrible English.
Spend 1,000 right now.
I think that they would lose in 4.
In 4? Why?
I don't know. I just don't think the team's actually good enough to where they should get a game like that. Just didn't seem like it to me. Not against the Bulls. But
especially when again, you're putting Scotty and MJ on Vince.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's 2 intense all NBA, all world defenders to guard him and throw at him at any point. And there's not anybody else that they have to worry about in the backcourt, which is critical.
But this Bulls team has had adversity with or has had issues with physicality.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but what I am saying is the Raptors this particular Raptors team doesn't have the biggest reputation for physicality.
And also, didn't they get over that hump like this season?
Yeah, but he was not for nothing. It was not the same Detroit team that he had faced.
Yeah, because we see the same guy.
Yeah, because if we look at the next couple years when he goes against the Knicks, he loses some games.
Yeah,
and so that's like the Knicks brought him to 7. I think it was the next year. Yeah. So I mean, I could totally see them taking at least a game. Like I feel very comfortable with the 5, but I'm not arguing over a sweep or 5 games. It doesn't matter enough.
What's Jordan gonna average?
Oh, Jordan. Yeah, he's probably he giving them at least 33, 7 and 6, maybe.
Yeah, I feel
With
good about that. At least, and maybe 2 steals and a block a game.
Yeah,
maybe 2 steals and 2 blocks. Vince, almost 2 steals and 2 blocks here against the 76ers in 01.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think Jordan would probably get to that 35, shoot over 50%. Because what happens if Del Curry's guarding him? That's GG. Like, Morris Peterson,
it's going to have to be Vince. Vince is definitely going to have to be on him.
And Vince is not known for his defense, not even in his best day.
I mean, but he's averaging two
he's averaging
2
well.
blocks.
I feel confident.
That's a Jordan series.
Yeah, but I agree. But that is
crazy.
That's pure athleticism, and it's also he's guarding Allen Iverson. It's really easy to block somebody that's fucking 6 inches shorter than you.
Yeah.
But speaking of Allen Iverson, last team in the Eastern Conference we got to put them against are the Philadelphia 76ers, who got to the NBA Finals, some say with controversy, because a lot of people say the Sixers Bucks Eastern Conference Finals was rigged in Kings Lakers style. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But we talked about Iverson, 42%, 31 points a game. In the playoffs, that's going up to 33 points a game and only 39%. A man shooting 30 times a game, and he's not even shooting 40%. This is your most valuable player.
This is
why I don't like. It's hard.
But what no, come on. What he had to, how he had to do it. Sure, MJ would have done it if he had the same circumstances. He would have done it better. But what Allen Iverson had to do is literally just he had to be the scoring anchor for this extremely defensive team, and you had to be able to score enough points to keep them in games and to be able to win these games.
Yeah.
Like, did they ever blow a team out throughout this whole playoffs? I'd be. You could probably just look at.
I can. I got it. They were Sixers were 92.3 points per game, and then 92.4 points allowed. So, razor.
Yeah. So imagine
margins.
The amount of games they had to win by 1 or 2 points is insane.
That's crazy. They allowed more points per game than they scored.
Well, you gotta think about it. They faced the Lakers. They faced the Lakers at the end.
I know, but they made it all the way to the finals doing that shit.
Yeah, for sure. That's why, and that's why I'm saying that's why it gets respected, because it's like that is super difficult to have to do. Like,
yeah.
And both times that players have done it, it was the same structure. Remember, we talked about LeBron's 07 run. You had to have lockdown defense, and pretty much he had to do everything. And that's the same thing that Philly had to do. So,
you think the other 3 guys we talked about that we just ranked, do you think they would have done better in Allen Iverson's position, in your opinion? Like
the other, like Kobe
might have. I think McGrady. I think Carter might have. I think Kobe maybe could have.
I think honestly, I know I'm gonna be cocky in him, but I think Kobe definitely could have, only because he would have added something more on defense to that already.
But was he all first team defense this year?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I know he did. I know he did it like 9-12 times in his career or something.
I know, but it's important. He's on the second team, so he's getting there. He's not where he's going to be.
And all those go back.
Iverson was cooking him.
Wait, go back. So look at those. All the other guards we mentioned are not there.
Right, that's fair.
So you got a guard that could put up just as many points. Truth be told, Kobe averaged 29, 7, and 6 in that playoff run. In this 2001 playoff run, Kobe averaged 29, 7, and 6. AI put up, 33? There's no way you can't tell me that Kobe couldn't put up 33 points a game.
I just don't know what Kobe...
And he's going to be locking down on defense.
I just don't know if you put Kobe in that situation without... I just think he's so young. I don't know. I don't know if it ends up being.
AI is just they're like the same age, almost the same age.
I don't think so. But
I think he's like 3-4 years older.
That makes a big difference when the one guy's 21. Like when you were 21 compared to when you were 25.
Yeah, it's 25.
Like that's all I'm saying. It's a big difference.
But he was definitely ready. He wanted to take the spot in LA. That was the
I feel the same way about T-Mac. Like it doesn't surprise me that T-Mac's team with just him carrying it. Like I don't know. I don't know if he would have done that well. I was thinking about it in the beginning, but like I'm sure he would have good high scoring games, but ultimately would his team win? I'm not sure.
But I feel like it's the vets that are probably doing a lot of the leadership shit, and like I don't think it's AI like in particular. But I mean I guess he could have.
No, it definitely is for this point. And you got to remember, this is like the team of this season from an award standpoint. Iverson gets the MVP. Mutombo gets the Defensive Player of the Year, also on Philly. Aaron McKee gets the Sixth Man of the Year, also on Philly. And I'm pretty sure, what the hell is that coach's name?
There ain't no way that anybody would convince me in my mind that if you switch Kobe and AI, flip-flopped them, and asked Kobe to do the same thing he did, that Kobe wouldn't do the same thing he did.
Yeah,
I think he would do that and better.
Definitely score 30 and put up under 40%. That I agree with for sure. But you also gonna have a lockdown defender, and what were they were what was the defense? Timeout. No, timeout. Because we are not about to disrespect Kobe. Kobe would be but we're not about to lie. We're not about to lie and say Kobe's in his prime right now. He's not.
You thought this was Apex Kobe literally 8 months ago.
And then what happened?
And then but this is Kobe's second greatest year.
So you're right.
Doesn't matter.
I have to stay with my wrong opinions forever. You're right.
No.
What do you mean? Of course we picked them because I was wrong. That happens.
I think Kobe.
Thank you. Kobe's literally a lockdown defender, and he can do everything Iverson can do offensively and more.
I think 05-06.
Iverson averaged 31, 5, and 4. Kobe would 100% average that same amount of points and more assists and more rebounds.
You guys want to hear two random thoughts?
Yeah.
So, since I didn't grow up watching basketball, I only watched the movie Like Mike, right? So the first time wait, ready? First time I ever watched like Iverson stuff, I thought he was the adult version of Like Mike. Second random thought is I was really
You thought he was Bow Wow? You thought he was older Bow Wow?
I didn't register that until you said it. I was like, what?
And then second random thought is I was really surprised by how many times I saw Doug Christie's name at the top of things when I was going over this stuff.
Dude, he was one of the big players for the Kings, and why the Kings were a winning ball club with their ball hand, like, because not a lot of those guys were known for their defense. Like Bibby and Weber were not known for their defense, but they all kept the ball moving and shit. And so Christie was the guy. He would always be the guy on Kobe. He would always be the guy on the Iverson, Carter, those guys. Also, he's a very fun guy to play with on 2K.
Yeah.
But I'm taking the Bulls in 4 games over Philly because of all the same reasons that we just dealt with. I just think this East is a wasteland when you put this very nice Bulls team in. Like,
and I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because this 76ers team, you could argue, is way more physical than the Toronto team. Yeah. I just don't think a 6-foot guard is going to be able to. Usually, you'd give a all-time great at least 1 game. 4 games is like probably the safer bet. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 1 game because of AI, but because AI just goes off maybe for 50, you know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's a clear victory for the Bulls.
I just want to see what Michael Jordan for his career averaged against Mutombo.
I don't think that's like relevant though.
I'm just curious. It's not super relevant in terms of like this is for sure a fact, but
no, I mean just like more so like he's not guarding him really.
No, but it's about protecting the rim. It's about protecting the rim. And it's about, like, can Michael Jordan still get to the basket and do his damage on Mutombo? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Like, Mutombo's not, he's still getting 3 blocks a game for his career against Jordan, but Jordan still 31%, 50% shooting for his career.
31 points.
31 points. And getting to the line 8 times every single game. So I'm not worried about Mutombo, even though he's the defensive player of the year, protecting the rim, and that's slowing Jordan down to a degree. I think he'll still be able to get his 30 every game and keep it at that 50%. And until somebody can stop that definitively, then it's hard for me to pick against the Bulls.
Yeah.
Very difficult. And that's why I wanted to look it up. But so we agree that the Bulls would more than likely come out of the East and win the finals. Or not win the finals, but get to the finals.
Get to the finals, yes.
So that puts them, obviously, against one of Dario's favorite all-time teams, the 0-1 LA Lakers. Led by your favorites, Shaquille O'Neal and the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Also, old Phil versus new Phil, or old Phil versus young Phil, rather.
Yes.
Triangle versus triangle.
Yeah.
Tex winner versus Tex winner, also. Shaq and Kobe, 28 each in the regular season, basically 30 each in the playoffs.
It's 29 for Kobe, but I'll let it slide because
I was going to say, I was giving you a break. You're going to fucking bust my balls?
No, I'm just,
29
I have to be consistent. I can't be, I can't just.
29 and a half, 7 and 6 with a steal and a half on 47%. And Shaq with a monstrous 30 and 15, 2.5 blocks, 55.5%. We're going to talk about Shaq in great detail in a couple weeks, but
yes.
Shaq's head-to-head numbers against Michael Jordan. It's basically they're both 500 against each other. Jordan with one more win, right?
Yeah.
Jordan, remember what I said about Mutombo? Where I was looking at the numbers against him, and I was like, if Jordan was slowing down a little bit, it would show in the statistics from field goal percentage standpoint and stuff like that. This is what I'm talking about. Shaq versus MJ, even though this does factor in some of MJ's comeback games, I'm aware of that. 27 points a game on 41% shooting, right?
Yeah.
Two and a half.
You could take out the comeback games, though.
It's not even that big of a deal, even though he has a really bad game when he against Shaq on his comeback game, like shooting 30%. Still, most of these for him, he has only 2 games above 50%. One in 93 and one in 2003 on the Wizards.
Yeah.
Other than that, he is shooting under 50% because Shaq is a fucking force down there.
Yeah.
You know what
that 2000 was probably Shaq's best defensive year.
Yeah.
He was he was everywhere and he was an animal. Right. But 2001 he's still no slouch.
No, absolutely not. And not by the playoffs because he's a guy who plays himself into shape.
And not to mention Michael Jordan will have a not to Russell standards great guard guarding him, but he'll have a pretty good defender guarding him.
I said not the best defender in the league. You're making.
But I never said. I said the best top guard defender. That's what I. No, we can. Rewind the tape, Russell.
Right before you were about to argue.
Russell.
No, he said he said top guard defender.
I don't think he's the best guard defender in basketball. He's in there,
and I don't think so either. I don't think he was ever.
But okay, so I still think I'm taking Lakers in 6. I think. They don't have anything.
That makes it easier because that's what I had. So I was expecting to argue, but
I can't take the Bulls when I don't think they have anybody that can actually guard Shaq, peak Shaq. Like,
yeah, they can.
let's say Jordan averages 35 on 50% shooting. So will Shaq.
No, yeah, and he'll give you another 15 rebounds, probably 3 or 4 blocks.
That's what I'm saying. And then Scottie Pippen's not going to keep up with Kobe's scoring unless, again, Kobe's probably going to shoot.
Especially not this Kobe. If it was the year before, they would have had a much better chance.
But much like the other guards that we've spoken about, there's no way Kobe is not going to feel the heat from Scottie and MJ at like taking turns on each other. You know what I mean? So I definitely think he'll be at like 26, 25 a game and like 42, 43%. It'll be harder for him to move around the court with somebody difficult on him all the time. But I think
Kobe. Yeah, I think Kobe can still put up give you a minimum of 25.
Yeah,
the same thing you just said, and I still think he's gonna give you the 5 and 5 or the 6 and 6 assists and rebounds. And I think pretty much I could see him shooting below his average. So he was shooting 47% for the year. I could see him doing 45, 40, 44, something like that. More to what his career average is.
Right.
And it's too much because there's no way Scotty's going to be able to keep up with that. And then their role players are pretty much similar. Like they also have Horace Grant and everything. Like if
the Bulls are going to have a roadmap for victory, it's like Paxson needs to get over 12 points a game, and be consistently knocking them down. Yeah. Hodges, same thing. BJ, same thing. Like, they're gonna need, and Horace is gonna have to put up a double-double, but it's gonna be impossible.
No way. There's no way. You're gonna have to go against yourself plus Shaq.
Yeah.
It's gonna be food because Shaq, he gets to do all his elbow shit and everything to them. Like, it's complete dominance. Like, this Shaq is literally the most dominant player in NBA history, in my opinion. And
Shaq, as I alluded to and talked about earlier, is somebody that Michael Jordan, even though he did sweep him that second year back with the good Bulls team, the biggest reason they were able to do that is because Rodman was a goddamn animal.
Yeah.
And Rodman could do things that other humans could not at his size.
But the whole thing, they swarmed Penny Hardaway. That's why they didn't allow them to set their offense up at all.
Right.
Like, in order for them to get down the court, they were getting down the court and they only had like 12 seconds to set their offense.
Right.
Like, they were literally just swarming them at every single. And I don't think they could do that with Kobe. I really don't.
I just don't think Kobe's not bringing the ball up like that. He's not.
Yeah, he's going to be Fisher and Kobe
bringing the ball up. And I just don't. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking that in that way. But that is how the Pistons were able to beat the Lakers in a few years, was by doing exactly what you just said. Yep. And Kobe's admitted it.
The biggest thing with that was Kobe was playing to. He was not playing within the offense.
Right.
He admitted that too. Like, this is a Kobe that he's bought in. He's like, they were having issues in the regular season, but by this point, he already understands his role. He understands what they got to do, and he understands what they have to do to win the championship. So
the only reason I was thinking of it is because what you said about Penny, and then Kobe was, when he did the interview with Shaq, he was like, the biggest reason we lost that game is because we didn't get into our automatic plays, which in other words means the ball didn't go into the big fella as much as it should have because of exactly what you just said, where they were getting where Kobe was getting swarmed, and then when he wasn't getting swarmed, that was his opportunity to take a jump shot. It was a weird point in their chemistry, once
Shaq starts to get dominant in that paint, that's when you're gonna have the Scotty and the Jordan try to swarm, try to help out. Yeah. And once you do that, who's gonna be guarding Kobe? Who's gonna be guarding Rick Fox? Who's gonna be guarding Derek Fisher for those three? Like, it's just gonna open everything up. So it's gonna be.
That's why there's a lot of Kobe haters, let's say, who would be like, who knows what Kobe's career would look like without Shaq? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of that dynamic. Because even against the two greatest perimeter defenders on the same team ever, you're still put in that horrible predicament of you're gonna have to double Shaq or you're gonna have to double Kobe.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're right. I just don't. I could easily see getting 35 and 15 on this.
And I know this goes. You brought it up. That's just the thing that I don't like about that argument is because Kobe is the only guy I feel like in NBA history that gets shitted on for having an all-time great teammate. When you had Magic Johnson have similar situation with Kareem, and literally you could argue that their situation was significantly better because they're both top 5 players all time.
Right.
Like a lot of people argue Kobe and Shaq are barely top 10 players all time. I completely disagree.
That's fair. I know what you mean.
Those arguments just don't make any sense to me.
Most fun about getting into Shaq's legacy breakdown is running through this part of the career in detail and really running down the series of events that led to the breakdown. Lindsay, who do you got and how many games?
Oh, I agree with you guys. I didn't think that it was going to be
I was expecting more of an argument.
A Bulls victory at all.
What did you think I was going to say? What did you think?
I thought it was just going to be opposite. I thought you were going to say Bulls in 6.
I just can't. Jordan is probably going to get to 35. I could see that, but I could see Jordan like losing his mind over Shaq because there's just not an answer. Horace can't do anything. I figure Horace will end up in therapy after that because Jordan just will like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're stupid. You suck. No food for you on the flight home. None of that. Like, shit is insane to me. But
yeah, Jordan definitely could get 2 games at least. Like I feel confident in that. I feel like he's gonna definitely put up a good fight. And
I think he'll get a 50 spot in one of those games that they win. He'll get a 50 spot.
I don't think so.
Like, I'm not saying it would be like.
It'll probably be a very inefficient 50.
Yeah. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that it would be. I'm saying under 50%, but he's getting. It's like 21 for 43 from the field. He's going to take like all the shots. Once it gets desperate, because that's the interesting part about the Bulls dynasty. The only time it really, really got quote unquote desperate was Game 6 in '98. And what happened? Jordan took every shot, controlled the whole pace of the game at that point. But other than that, they never got to a desperate situation. Like there was those 2 Game 7s, but even then, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where you never saw Jordan truly with like, but in comparison to other people, with his back against the wall. Like the Knicks gave him some trouble and pushed him to 7 one time. And then obviously that Pacers series, but the Pacers were underdogs that whole time. So it would be interesting to see how Jordan would react to definitely being the underdog in this series. I think from a betting standpoint, he would have been the underdog. Close, but
he should have. He should definitely be the underdog.
But Jordan's going to get MVP. Jordan's going to make the finals. Possibly get in Defensive Player of the Year conversation. But no chip for Mr. Jordan this time.
Yeah.